Hello planty friends, my name is Carly and welcome back to my channel, The Planted Carly Flower. I'm out of soil, so today we're going to be building my preferred soil mix. So stick around and you'll see how I build up the soil that I prefer to put most of my plants in. So, hello everyone. So like I said, we're going to do my soil mixture today. So let's just go over a little bit of things before we start mixing it up. This is what I keep my soil in. I did drill holes at the top for some aeration, or otherwise it stayed too moist in there. This is a dog food container and it came with the top. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll link it in the description box down below. It came with that scoop, and then it came with a smaller one that fits on top and sits in these grooves that I keep some plant supplies in for potting things in soil and whatnot. It looks just like this, but it's small. It's on wheels. It's easy for me to take wherever I need to pot something up, and it holds a lot of soil. So I'm really happy with this arrangement, and I highly recommend getting something like this to keep your soil in. Okay guys, I have been waiting for this perlite for literally like a month. I ordered it on Amazon. I don't know what happened, but they kept saying they were sending it to me and it never came. Then they were like, do you still want this? And I was like, you know what, forget it. And I canceled the order and I went with Lowe's, and all they had was Miracle-Gro. By general rule, I don't buy Miracle-Gro products. I don't care for them in general. The only Miracle-Gro product I buy routinely is my orchid foliage spray for my Hoyas, but I just have heard bad things about Miracle-Gro. I've read some articles that say that they don't protect the environment, they're not sustainable, in particular to killing the areas that hummingbirds live in, and using pesticides that kills hummingbirds and bees, and I just don't like Miracle-Gro. It's a personal choice. You guys use whatever is easy. Miracle-Gro is widely distributed and fairly cheaply priced, so I get the draw. I do. But I did have to get Miracle-Gro because for some reason Perlite was eluding me, and this was all I could get a hold of. I got these at Lowe's for $4.98 a bag. I got one bag for my soil mix, and I got another bag because I'm going to try rooting in it again, because everyone seems to be loving rooting in Perlite, so I'm going to try it again. Maybe my method wasn't nailed down last time I tried it because I didn't really like it that much, but everyone says it's amazing, so maybe we'll try making a perlite prop box or something for the spring. But this is for my soil, and I have the rest of the supplies stored in my linen closet because I've had them for over a month waiting for perlite, and now that I have it, we can make the soil. So let's go take a look at my other supplies. Okay guys, we're really shooting from the hip, playing it fast and loose with this soil mix because I've actually never used this potting mix before. I typically use a Spoma potting mix, but we're gonna go with this because I've heard really great things. Harley G has recommended this, and it's the black and gold, and I'm using the natural and organic. It has worm castings in it, so it's got a little bit of nutrition for the plant, and I do use liquid dirt, so it'll get that with every watering. Oh, let's turn this around. I know a lot of people have strayed from a potting mix using straight coco coir or sphagnum peat moss, but I still prefer just the black and gold. It saves me from having to buy, or not the black and gold, but the mixed potting mix, because it saves me from buying worm castings. My soil mix is already extra enough, so I'll take any and all help I can get with not having to buy additional items. I'm trying to see on here what the actual blend is. Okay, so I found it. It is a blend of sphagnum peat moss. So I probably won't buy this again I won't buy this again, simply because sphagnum peat moss is so bad for the environment. If you want to take a look at why, Good and Planty, I'll link her down below. She has a great video on the differences between sphagnum peat moss, not the same as sphagnum moss, but sphagnum peat moss and coco coir, and how they impact the environment. And sphagnum peat moss, in my opinion, is by far the worst of two evils. I had already bought this when I saw that video. Thank you, Good and Planty, for putting that out. So I won't be buying this again. I'm sorry, Black and Gold, I'm sure you're great, but I'm going to look for something with more of a coco coir base, because that leaves a less of an impact on the environment, but still an impact. I don't think indoor gardening is ever going to be completely sustainable, but we can do our bit to do the best we can, and sphagnum peat moss will not be in my mix going forward. I do have my Repti chip, which is a coconut substrate. It's the husk of coconuts, and it's more of a chip versus the stringy parts, and I put that in my soil to help with water retention, because it does hold on to quite a bit of water, and it also gives aeration. Yes, I know it's made for reptile bedding, but it also works really well as a straight substrate by itself and to mix into soil. So I do get this to use as a straight substrate for my Hoyas, as well as to mix it in with my soil. I do like this special orchid potting mix. It adds aeration, and it's got some things like charcoal and a little bit of coarse perlite, and I like the size of the bark, so I use this in my soil. And then of course horticultural charcoal for some purification for the water and for any deposits that might end up in the soil. So this is what I use in addition to the perlite. I also sometimes throw a little bit of my DIY pond in the mixture because it's pumice, lava rock, and zeolite, and will give aeration without rising to the surface like perlite tends to do over time. But yeah, those are my ingredients, and I don't do anything fancy. I don't measure them. I just kind of eyeball it. So I mix it in stages so that's easier to stir, and let's get into it. Okay guys, so like I said, I don't really measure. I just kind of pour and let my heart make the measurements. So kind of like with cooking. So it's completely empty. As I showed you before, completely empty. It's got a little tiny bit there at the bottom, but I'm just going to pour some ingredients in until it looks right to me and mix it up, and I will give you a view of what it looks like when I've mixed some of it up. Okay guys, this is what it's looking like so far. I do like it very airy, very well draining, and this is looking pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and mix the rest of it up and fill up the container. Okay guys, that's another layer of soil that I've mixed up, and it's looking pretty good. I think it needs a little bit more perlite, but it's looking pretty airy and good, so I'm going to add a little bit more perlite and we'll check back in. Okay guys, it's all done. This is the final result. Nice, airy, good mix for any kind of plant. I mostly have philodendrons and Hoyas with a few exceptions, but this can easily be amended with a little bit more peat soil if I wanted to put something that was a little bit more moisture retaining in it, which is the great thing about soil. You can really tailor it to whatever kind of plant you have. But this is what I go with. I always second guess myself that it could use more perlite, but it looks pretty good. It's really airy and light, and now I'm ready to start my spring potting. So maybe there's a repotting video in our future. So thanks for sticking around, and I hope this was useful to you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much.